لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Can you allow the yes? Can you allow the yes? فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Inshallah, this is going to be the continuation of the explanation of the book Aqeedatur Raaziyayn as compiled by Abu Muhammad Abdurrahman ibn Abi Hatim rahimahullahu rahmatan wasi'a. نعم. قال الرازيان قال الرازيان ولا نرى الخروج على الأئمة ولا القتال في الفتنة ونسمع ونطيع لمن والله الله أمرنا ولا ننزع يدا من طاعة. الإمامان الرازيان رحمهما الله, they also said ولا نرى الخروج على الأئمة, we do not support revolt against the A'imma. Who are the A'imma? They are the Ru'usun Nas, the leaders of the people that are being obeyed, just like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu said to a woman when she asked, Mal A'imma, what do you mean by A'imma? Who are those A'imma? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu responded to her, Amma kana liqawmik ru'usun wa ashrafun ya'murunahum fayuti'unahum. Don't you people have those among you that are leaders, that they command you to do things and you obey them? Qalat bala, the woman said, of course. Then Abu Bakr said, Fahum ulaika ala nas, ulaiki ala nas. So those are your people who are leaders upon other people. So those are the A'imma. So he said, وَلَا نَرَى الْخُرُوجَ عَلَى الْأَئِمَّةِ. The Salaf, they mentioned that it is not part of the Aqidah or the manhaj of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah to revolt against the leaders, the Muslim leaders now especially. It is not part of the manhaj of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah to revolt against them. Why will people revolt against their leaders? For several reasons. And majorly, maybe because they do not obey the injunction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe because they are unjust. Maybe because they are not giving them their rights. They feel they are suffering in the country. So the next thing is to revolt against him, to unseat him and install someone else after unseating him. So, and few other reasons why people carry out revolts against their rulers. For Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we see this as what? As haram, as far as the deen is concerned. And anybody who promotes it, who speaks for it, for revolts, who calls for revolt, who supports it, is a mubtadi'. Is a person of bid'ah. Is a person of heresy. that we have to warn people against, because it's directly going against the injunctions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam concerning how we can relate or how we should relate with our rulers. In a narration, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Isma'u wa ati'u," listen and obey. Listen to your leaders. Wa ati'u, and obey your leaders. Wa in istu'mila alaykum abdun habashi. Even if the one who is the ruler on you, who is your ruler, who is your leader, happens to be abdun habashi, a slave from Abyssinia, or a black slave. He happens to be a slave. How will a slave become a ruler? For the Prophet to have said this, it means that maybe the slave, one way or the other, through revolts, let's say through revolts, through military coup, as they will call it now, he take over the leadership. He killed the incumbent and he took over the leadership. Then he became the leader. So long as he has become the leader, he was a slave, but today now he has become the leader through force. The scholar said that is the meaning of وَإِن تَأَمَّرَ عَلَيْكُمْ عَبْدٌ حَبَشِي. If a slave somehow find his way to get to that position of leadership, he has become the ruler, then isma'u wa ati'u. You have to listen and obey. Don't say no. The means through which he got there, because of that, we have to revolt against him. We have to send him away. So long as he has become the ruler, he said, وَإِنِ اسْتُعْمِلَ عَلَيْكُمْ عَبْدٌ حَبَشِي. This is contained in Sahih Bukhari. So we have a lot of ahadith where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaks against revolt against the rulers. In a narration as narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, he said, "Man ra'a min amirihi shay'an yakra'uhu falyasbir." Anyone who sees something in his leader, a ruler, yakra'uhu, something he detests, that does not satisfy him. Maybe he's stepping on the toes of people. Maybe he's cheating on the people. Maybe he's been unjust with the people. These are the rights of the people now. These are the rights of the people. It has nothing to do with him taking alcohol, him committing zina, but he's stepping on the rights of the people. He's not giving his followers their rights. فَإِنَّهُ, the Messenger of Allah said, فَلْيَصْبِرْ, he should be patient. He should be patient. The next thing is not to gather people on social media, gather people on the minbar, incite them against such rulers, speak against such rulers in the public in the way that will incite the masses against him, and they will turn the whole country, to a very big area of problem. So he said, فَلْيَصْبِرْ, he should rather be patient. فَإِنَّهُ لَيْسَ أَحَدٌ يُفَارِقُ الْجَمَاعَ شِبْرًا. He said, because there is no one who eventually separates himself from the Jama'ah for a moment. He said, فَيَمُوتْ, and he dies upon that separation. إِلَّا مَاتَ مَيْتَةً جَاهِلِيَّةً, except that the person dies the death of Jahiliyyah. The one who separates himself, that is the one who rises against the ruler in the public. That is separatist. He said, "Man innahu laysa ahadun yufariqul jama'a shibran." Just an inch. He moves an inch away from the injunction or from following or obeying the ruler. He moves away an inch. Fayamut, and he dies upon that path. Illa mata maytatan jahiliya, except that the person dies as like the death of Jahiliyyah. So this has to do with the rights of the people when the rulers are not giving people their rights, when they are being unjust to the people. Are the people supposed to find solution in revolting against him? Should we find leaders, religious leaders, on the pulpit speaking in the public against those rulers, to batter them with their mouths, with their khutbah, so that people can feel like, oh, really, you are feeling what we are feeling too. I think we need to revolt against these rulers. This is not allowed as far as the Sharia is concerned. It is contained in Sahihayn that the Messenger of Allah said, "As-sam'u wa ta'a ala al-mar'i al-muslim fima ahabba aw kariha." Listening and obeying is upon every Muslim. Listen to who and obey who? The rulers. Fima ahabba aw kariha. In anything that he loves or he dislikes. We cannot like things the same way. You may like something in a ruler, the other person may dislike it. So you don't give it a general ruling. So let's assume everybody dislikes one thing or the other in the ruler. What do? The Prophet said, "As-sam'u wa ta'a." Do not stop obeying such a ruler. Ma lam yu'mar bi ma'siyatillah. So long as he does not order you to disobey Allah. So long as he does not order you, everybody must start going to church. Everybody must disobey Allah. Everybody has to do this. He does not order you to disobey Allah. What he is doing is stepping upon toes. What he's doing is not giving people, denying people their rights. فَإِذَا أُمِرَ بِمَعْصِيَةِ اللَّهِ. Anytime a ruler commands or instructs the disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَلَا سَمْعَ وَلَا طَاعَ. He said there is no listening here and there is no obedience here. This is where a line is drawn. That you do not obey them. Look at the parents as well. The same ruling applies to the parents. That you must listen to your parents, you must obey your parents, you must not abuse them, you must not curse them, you must not incite people against your parents. وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَنْ تُشْرِكَ بِي مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. But the moment your parents goes beyond their bound, asking you to disobey Allah, فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا, then don't obey them, don't listen to them. In that regard, وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. When it comes to other issues, affairs of this dunya that have nothing to do with you disobeying Allah, وَصَاحِبْهُمَا, you should relate with them well in a good manner. So the same thing applies to the rulers now. But the Prophet said, when it comes to the ma'asiyah of Allah, فَلَا سَمْعَ وَلَا طَاعَ, there is no obedience, there is no listening to them in this regard. But if it does not have to do with that, then you still have to listen and obey. You know, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the hadith of Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he said, "Satakunu atharatun wa umurun tunkirunaha." A time will come, you will have some of your leaders. There will be atharat, favoritism, that you dislike. You will know it will be so glaring that there is favoritism in that system of government. You know, you will see it. This is the same thing people are complaining today. All the things the Messenger of Allah mentioned here, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are the things people complain about today in their governments. Go to the Arab world, ask them, why are you revolting? Yeah, because of Jawr, because of Atharo, because of Zulmu. There is injustice, there is favoritism, there is this and that. The leaders are not doing right, the leaders are not doing well. Or some of the leaders, they take alcohol, some of the leaders, they disobey Allah. Did they ask you to take alcohol? No, they didn't ask you to take alcohol. Then leave it. It's not for you to revolt against a leader because it drinks alcohol. You know all the offenses of Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf As-Saqafi. As a ruler, Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf happened to be very, very tyrant, who killed not less than 120,000 people in his time. Not less than 120,000. A ruler, a Muslim ruler. So the extent that some people have to declare in a kafir. like Ash-Sha'bi, Al-A'mash, Sa'id ibn Jubair, they declared him a kafir. While some other companions said no, they would even pray behind him. The likes of Abdullah ibn Umar would pray behind Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. The likes of Anas ibn Malik would pray behind Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. Said he had a lot of shortcomings. To them, he wasn't a kafir. But to some of these people I mentioned, they declared him a kafir. Somebody asked, was it Ash-Sha'bi? He said, تَسْأَلُونَ عَنِ الشَّيْخِ الْكَافِرِ? Are you asking me about that kafir old man? He declared him a kafir. Somebody told the other man, why did you revolt against Al-Hajjaj? He said, I did not revolt against him when he was a Muslim. I only revolted against him when he became a kafir. But scholars will say, we had companions who prayed behind him who did not see him a kafir. Still, they would not go to the minbar, to speak publicly against him. So, the highest you will say is that he had been offending Allah all this while. He had been doing this and that, and he said he's a Muslim ruler. This is the highest people can say about their Muslim rulers in all these other countries. And to add to that is to say that he has been unjust. So the people, no electricity, no water, no this and that. The economy is so bad. Was the economy good before he got there? So here the Messenger of Allah said, Satakunu asara. Yes, you will find favoritism in some of your rulers. Wa umurun tunkirunaha, and issues, affairs that you would detest a lot. Qalu ya Rasulullah. They said, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu fama ta'muruna. What would you advise? What would you ask us to do in that situation if we have such rulers? What should we do? If you have Muslim rulers in Nigeria who fall in that shoe, what should you do? The Muslims in the Arab nations who had Muslim rulers who fall in these shoes, what should they do? The way the companions asked the Prophet sallallahu Fama ta'muruna, what would you order us? He said, to aduna al-haqqa alladhi alaykum. Fulfill your own responsibilities. Give him his rights. Give those rulers their rights. Do this so long as those things are not in disobedience to Allah. Do it. Don't do this so long as he has not stopped you from worshipping Allah. Obey him. Give him his rights. What is his right? Obedience. Listening and obedience. وَتَسْأَلُونَ اللَّهَ الَّذِي لَكُمْ. Ask Allah to give you your own rights. How will Allah get your rights for you from him? Leave it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do that. You think the best way you can get your rights from such ruler, from such tyrant rulers, is for you to revolt against him? Those who did it in the past, they regretted doing it. It didn't come with good results. They didn't have good results from it. Al-Hasan al-Basri warned the people against revolting against their ruler, Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, but they did not listen. What happened? They were destroyed by the soldiers of this man. They were destroyed. They were dealt with mercilessly. Most of them eventually ran away. They left Iraq because they could not withstand it eventually. And these were youths that were saying, no, we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to do this and that. But the result was not only pain to them, it was not pain as well, not beneficial to the whole ummah, to their country. It was not beneficial because souls were lost. Women become widows. Children become orphans. Why? Because some people felt, the youth, they felt they could stop the injustice of Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "So aduna al-haqqa alladhi alaykum." The highest you can do is to give them their rights. Wa tas'aluna Allah alladhi lakum, and you ask Allah to give you your own rights. In another report in Sahih Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Alayka sam'a wa ta'a fi usrika wa yusrika wa manshatika wa makrajika wa atharatina alayka." The same thing. It is upon you to listen and obey at times of ease and at times of difficulty. At times that you dislike what you are seeing, you should do what? Alayka as-sam' wa ta'a. This is an injunction from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, in the reports, also contained in Sahih Bukhari, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Sayakunu umara." A time is coming, there will be some leaders, some rulers. Ta'rifun wa tunkirun. You know them very well. You can identify them. You know them before they became rulers. When they became rulers, you can see what they do. Wa tunkirun. You dislike their actions. You dislike what they do. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after describing them, the companion said, "Ya Rasulullah, Allah nuqatiluhum." Don't you think we should fight against these people? Such rulers who misbehave. Don't you think we should fight them? Meaning revolt against them. The Prophet said, "La, no, ma sallahu," so long as they observe salah. So long as they observe salah. Meaning, so long as they are Muslims. You should not revolt against them. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the Messenger of Allah has really warned the Ummah against revolts, against the rulers. It is not the way of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And that is why I'm not sure I have come across any record of a revolt that went successfully without bloodshed, without loss of lives, without wastage of property, of a revolt that went freely. In fact, most of it were not even successful. Most of it were not successful. So what is the essence of such move that does not have good results for the Ummah? The purpose of going against the rulers is that you want to fix the country. You want better things for the people. You have sympathy for your people. Is it part of the sympathy you have for them that their lives should be lost? If you were to ask those people one after the other that want to make this move, would you like it? And the result might be this and that, this and that. They will tell you no. I just leave it the way we are living. Look at the way people are returning to their country, Gaza, for example. See the way they are returning. When they were coming back, see the happiness, the joy in them. Just imagine the joy in some of them. Those that were able to miss their family eventually after how many months of separation, that the father did not even know if the son was still alive or not. The moment he saw his son, he was full of joy and he was shedding tears. Let alone if you revolt against your leaders who are Muslims, just because the economy was not good. Ask the people on the street, would they want your move before you make such move? They will tell you no. Because they can see the aftermath from countries who have made the same move. It was not paying enough for the people. So the Messenger of Allah, coupled with the fact that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not speak against something if they were good in it. If the Prophet had spoken against something, it is enough for Muslims to know there are more than enough evils in that thing, and the aftermath will never be good. It's more than enough to say sami'na wa ata'na, that we listen and we have obeyed. That is the statement of the believers. It is not to start juxtaposing, to start rationalizing. No, worry about this, worry about that. In the time of the prophet, it was like it is easy to say, but now these leaders, you can't just leave them; they will not listen to you. The Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has forbidden, revolting against the rulers. He told us the way forward. What do we do to correct the leaders? Must you correct them with your sword? Must you correct them by revolting against them? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said you should advise them. Advise the rulers if you are close to them, or you assign those who are close to them to advise the rulers. Is it not to correct them? What do you want to gain in correcting your father in the public, for example? Your father has done something wrong, and it is in the public you want to correct it. As in, no child that is sensible will want to do that. Every child will know that I should not correct my father in the public. It will sound as what? A disgrace. I'm disgracing my father in the public. Even my father's friends will rebuke me immediately that, and you are saying that to your father in the public. Why not wait until you get home to talk to him? Because it's going to sound as a disgrace, and your father may not even take your correction anymore. Is it not to correct him? Is it not to do nasiha? Nasiha is better done at times. So somebody, an individual especially, one-on-one. It is easier for him to take the nasiha from you than taking it from you when you do it in the public, when you have disgraced him. And you say he's a tyrant. It was reported that Harun al-Rashid, when he was a leader, somebody came, a man, with the intention to correct him, to do nasiha to him. In the public, he spoke against him a lot. He fired him a lot, like a lot. Harun al-Rashid was quiet, listening to him. Everybody was surprised at the confidence of this man. And after he was done, Harun al-Rashid asked him, Hal anta afdalu min Musa? Are you better than Musa, Nabiyullah, alayhi salatu wassalam? Qala la. The man said no. Harun al-Rashid asked him, Hal ana aswa'u min Fir'aun? Am I worse than Fir'aun? Qala la. The man said no. Harun al-Rashid told him, Hal la ta'alam anna Allah qala li Musa. Don't you know that Allah told Musa when he sent him to Fir'aun that وَقُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ أَوْ يَخْشَى. Allah told Musa, who is better than you, that when you get to Fir'aun, who is worse than me, you should tell him, talk to him, قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا, with a cool, calm discussion, soft discussion. لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ أَوْ يَخْشَى. Maybe that is going to benefit him. Be soft, be gentle with him. Who was Allah talking to? Allah was talking to Musa. Who is better than you? That when you get to Pharaoh, who is worse than me, still you should be soft and gentle with him. Like, can't you apply the same wisdom? Because addressing the leader in the public like that, you are getting him angry. He's a human being like you. If somebody wants to correct you with a defect in you and it speaks against you where your friends, family members, people are, you feel so bad about what the person is saying, even if the person is saying the truth. How much more the ruler? So there is hikmah in saying that you should go to the private with him, advise him, discuss with him, tell him about his shortcomings, tell him about how people are feeling, about his governance, tell him about the difficulty in the society. قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ أَوْ يَخْشَى. Maybe he will fear Allah from your statement and from the method you have employed. Why won't people want to adopt the advice of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why must they always go to the public and expecting that they will not be arrested from the minbar? And you say the imam has been arrested from the minbar. What kind of government is this? Why would they arrest the imam for speaking out the truth? What truth is the imam speaking about? What truth is he speaking out? How is he saying the truth? Why not the imam say, oh, it is wrong. It is wrong to be unjust to the people. It is wrong. Speak it out generally without saying, oh, the government is this. What kind of government is this? This and that. The government never did this. It never did that. How many dispensations now? Can it come 8 years? You start mentioning specificities about them. And you say they will not come and arrest you. And after arresting him, what will happen? The Jama'ah, they will get up in protests. And there will be issues in the society. Nasiha is not done in that manner. Nasiha is not done in that manner. The purpose of Nasiha should not be defeated by doing it publicly when you are not supposed to do it publicly. We know how we handle our family members when we have to advise them. You know how you advise your wife. You are all in a public gathering and your wife does something and you feel bad about it. Some of us will do what? You take your phone, you message her immediately. Why not say it in the public? You want to respect the honor of your wife, but you cannot respect the honor of the leaders, of your rulers. So this, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that you will surely find those asara that you have to listen and obey your ruler. That's what Raaziyayn, the scholars, they said, وَنَسْمَعُ وَنُطِيعُ لِمَنْ وَاللَّهُ اللَّهُ أَمْرَنَا. We listen and obey the ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed on us as what? As our leaders. Especially the Muslim leaders, the Muslim rulers. So the highest we say, we talk about A'immatul Jawr. A'immatul Jawr are those rulers that the scholars will describe them as probably being unjust with the people. That is the highest that goes on as far as those Muslim rulers are concerned. Not that they have become kuffar. You don't declare any ruler a kafir unless you have clear evidence to say is a kafir. The Messenger of Allah said that until you have a clear evidence that is a kafir, wa illa, then you consider him a Muslim and probably a zalim, a wrongdoer who is unjust with the people. But with that zulm of his, you do not have the right to speak against him in the public, to incite, the masses, the people against him. Because if you do, the aftermath has not always been good. And it will never be good. The aftermath has not always been good. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us our shortcomings and accept our ibadah. So this is part of the manhaj of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. As for the Khawarij, they see them, the rulers, as kuffar already. The Khawarij, they see the rulers as kuffar. So they have no issues revolting against them. They have no issues revolting against them. Some of the Murji'ah, their position concerning this is that the rulers, the Muslim rulers, you do not speak ill of them at all. Don't even bother to go into seclusion with them, advising them, telling them they have done something wrong or right. Don't even do that. Don't even say anything about them. These two sects are in their extremes. The Khawarij in their extreme. The Murji'ah in their extreme. The Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they are the wasat. Of course, you advise the ruler. How? One-on-one. Those who have the opportunity to meet them. Yes, if the ruler says, send me email, tell me your grievances. That's an opportunity. Send me email. You have people who are close to them. Send your message to those people to talk to the rulers on your behalf, not to the social media, to incite people, and a lot of people start commenting. Before you know it, it is in millions. Before you know it, opinion, has been raised about what do we do? What do we do? Are we going to be watching like this? Our children are suffering. There's no job in the society. There's no this and that. And people start saying, let us meet at Eagle Square. This is not the way of the Muslims. If you have Muslims who do that, Muslim religious leaders who do that, meeting at Eagle Squares, calling it protest or whatever, they are following the path of the Khawarij. They are following the path of the Khawarij. This is not the path of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us our shortcomings and reward us abundantly. Subhanahu Allahumma hamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now,
when you were first hadith narrated, you mentioned the black slave. Please, is it that at that time the black slave was the lowest in society? That is, it was because of what it said that the Islam commanded that you should obey the black slave. So is it that at that time the black slave was the lowest in society?
Okay.
Secondly,
now,
the issue of protecting, he said that those people that revolt, they become protected. Does that mean that it doesn't take them out of Islam? That Allah can decide to forgive them?
Okay.
Even if Allah can decide to forgive them for their actions.
So the first question concerning وَإِنِ اسْتُعْمِلَ عَلَيْكُمْ عَبْدٌ حَبَشِي, that you have to do a sam'u wa ta'a, you have to listen and obey your rulers, even if the one who is made a ruler on you happens to be a slave from Abyssinia or a black slave. So does it mean the black slaves then were among the low of the low? Okay, yeah, that's it. Because when you are not in your territory and you have been taken as a slave, then you become among the low of the low. Okay, you have been taken a slave. If he was to be in his own country or in his own, say, continent, for example, he may not be considered among the lows. So because he's in another continent entirely, then he now happens to be a slave. Then of course he will be regarded as among the low. So the slaves generally are regarded among the lows. Then the Arabs, there is this ego in them as well. So yes, exactly. So exactly, that is it. So it is Islam that says there's no difference between an Arab man or a black man or a white man. In akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most honorable among you before Allah is the one who is more pious. Second question is what again? Mubtadi'. Does it mean those revolters who revolt, who have the position?
I would want you to help us comment on this notion that if the language that your ruler understands is protest.
Okay.
So
you have to give him.
Nothing wrong in it if your ruler understands it as a way of communication. I want you to help us correct that bad notion.
Okay, the notion or the statement that whatever language your ruler understands is the way you speak to him. So if the only language they understand, people do say that the only language these rulers, these leaders understand is protest. By the time you stage a very massive protest, that they will come to their senses to listen to you. So how do we handle this as far as the Sharia is concerned? Huh? Okay, now. So how do we handle this? This is a very wrong notion as far as Islam is concerned. Okay? Because the democracy itself is kufr. And it is democracy that brings about what? This issue of protest, that allows protest, let me use that word. Okay? So that you can protest. But they call it what? Peaceful protest, that peaceful protest is allowed. Okay? Yeah. People know, those who protest, they understand that the moment your protest is peaceful, it will never yield any results. Because those people you are protesting against may not be ready to listen to you. So, just go out, protest, walk from one place to the other, from Ikeja to Obalende, from Obalende to Ikoyi, from Ikoyi to Lekki, then go back home, drink water, eat, and go and sleep at home when you are tired. That's a very, very peaceful protest. And that is what they want. That is what the Constitution says, right? Not violent protest. So maybe from the experience of these people now, they have seen that it's not working. So they have to do something. They have to block the way. They have to obstruct, traffic. People who are traveling, you want to go, they have to go and stand by the airports. Nobody can pass. Disrupt movements. Is that peaceful? That is no more peaceful. That is no more peaceful. That is why even those who brought about this issue of protest, the masterminders of democracy, they themselves, you see their police beating those who are protesting. Why are they beating them? They are beating them up. Because those people, they want change by all means. They want them to listen to them by all means. So they have to make it not peaceful to a certain extent. All these are lies and fallacies. People are deceiving themselves. People are deceiving themselves. So people should not hide under the only language those we are protesting against understand is protest, so we have to give them that language so that they can listen to us. No. Ever since you have been doing that, what results have you been getting? Not to increase price of fuel, or everybody goes out with their lawani and beards. You don't want to increase price of fuel and this and that. Eventually, how much are you buying fuel today? Is it the same price with that time? It's not working. It's not working. So people believe, they think that let us give them their language so that it is going to know. Go for the line of dialogue. That's what religion says. Go for dialogue. Have representatives to discuss with them. Worst comes to worst, they will not listen to you. If they do not listen to you, what should you do? Should you start breaking facilities, government facilities in society? No. The Prophet ﷺ said, give them their rights as supposed. وَصَلُوا حَقَّكُمْ, and ask Allah to give you your own rights. Allah knows the best way to get your rights for you from them. This is as simple as it is. Wallahu a'lam. Wa alaikum assalam.
We have two countries right now.
Okay.
Right? They topple the leadership of those two countries.
Okay.
And we now have two factions. One is Libya, one is Sudan. They use protests to topple the leadership of those two countries. Now, those two factions, they are two factions fighting in these two separate countries. What should we do? How should that
the people of those countries
resolve the issue? We need to be fighting to know what you call it. How?
The issue is that if a country has been toppled by, say, a group of people and they have a ruler already, then it has become compulsory upon the people to start listening and obeying the ruler. Drop every other thing you are doing. So long as he has toppled the government, he has become the president, or he has become the whatever thing they call it. So long as he has gotten there, he's now the ruler, then everybody must be submissive. You don't, the hadith of وَإِن تَأَمَّرَ عَلَيْكُمْ عَبْدٌ حَبَشِي or وَإِنْ اسْتُعْمِلَ عَلَيْكُمْ عَبْدٌ حَبَشِي, this black Abyssinia slave becoming a leader. An Abyssinia slave or a black slave cannot just become a leader or a ruler in another country. Is it possible? It must be maybe through force, violence, or something like that. So he has become the ruler eventually from whatever means, haram or whatever means he has become the ruler, then alaykum as-sam'a wa ta'a. Then you must listen and obey. That is the message there. So whatever countries we have mentioned, Libya, this country, that country, so long as they already have a ruler now, as a president or, you know, a sitting president, a sitting ruler, then everybody should be submissive and listen, so long as they want to remain, you know, people who are obeying the injunctions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying that we don't want you because you got there through the means of protest or through the means of revolt. That's how you got there. So we have to stage another revolt to send him away. Then you want to, you know, correct evil with what? With evil. That is not right in Islam. You don't correct evil with evil. So you have to do the right thing. The right thing is for them to do what? To be submissive as far as those countries are concerned. Wallahu a'lam. Now,
What about the situation of speaking of the leadership and his back, whereby forcing the leadership to not to stay one way like this? Because in this situation, you see that the government of the day is going to be started forcing without relating with
now, yeah. Can we speak against a ruler behind him? You know, maybe among us we are discussing and we start bad mouthing the ruler, you know, abusing and cursing him. Is this also part of revolts? Wallahu a'lam, it is better to avoid things like that, as we don't know those we are discussing with what one or two persons among us would do eventually. We take some of our information and they will add more to it and they will say it more in the public or in the social media, or he has gotten an approval from you, you know, from what you are doing, okay, because we are just five and you have, you know, badmouthed the leader, you have rained a lot of curses on him, then he sees that as, you know, an approval to go to social media and do more and more than even what you have done. So it is better to avoid such things, so as for us not to eventually fall into the errors that the Messenger of Allah mentioned in those hadiths. Wallahu a'lam. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, now, subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.